Hello, and welcome to the Bike Virginia short video series. My name is Shane Cusick, and today I'm going to be talking about some general packing tips. Some things to get you by while you're on the tour, and things not to forget before you come to the tour. First thing I'm going to talk about is the bike. Before you get to the tour, make sure your bike is just in tip-top shape. The last thing you want to do is worry about some sort of mechanical issue while you're on the tour. Although I think Cycles Ed would probably appreciate your business, I think it would be a lot less stressful for you if your bike was in good working order and you didn't have to worry about it at all. Probably some of the best advice is to take it to your local bike shop before you come. If it's been a while since you've had a tune-up, have them tune it up, and they'll go over everything. They'll check all the cables, the drivetrain, and should make sure that your bike is in tip-top shape. The other thing to think about is helmets. And I know that it probably goes without saying, but make sure you bring your helmet. They're required on the tour, and everybody has different helmets. I've got a road helmet, a mountain bike helmet. So bring whichever helmet is the most comfortable when you feel like riding in for several days. The other thing to consider are sunglasses. And specifically riding glasses. They're a little bit different than normal sunglasses. They fit a little bit better on the helmet. But they do block a lot of the wind, so your eyes don't dry out nearly as much. But they also hold a mirror. So a lot of riders, and you may want to consider this, have small mirrors that attach to the sunglasses that allow you to see behind you. So you can see riders coming up, you can see cars coming up, things like that. The next thing I want to talk about is a lock. We will have at each base camp, we will have areas to lock your bikes. And we'll have an enclosed area that we will lock personally, but it's also a good idea to bring your own lock, such as a U-lock or even a simple cable lock. It should be good. But you can just throw those in your duffel bag and your bikes will be nice and secure every evening. The next thing is water bottles. Don't forget these guys. We'll have them for sale at the store, but you can also just make sure you have your own water bottles. And specifically, if you like your own drink, we will have Gatorade at the rest stops, but if you like other things from other manufacturers, make sure you bring your own packets. We'll always have water at the rest stops too that you can mix in whatever flavored electrolyte sort of substance that you like. The next thing is, a lot of people use water bottles plus things like a hydration pack, such as this. This is this is actually a Platypus brand, but the more common brand is called Camelback, and basically it's just a backpack that has a water bladder in it. It's easily accessible. You just sort of pull on this tube to pull the water out of it. So this is another thing to consider. And some people ride both, some people just ride this, some people just ride water bottles. It's totally up to you. Just make sure you bring some sort of water while you're riding. And toolkits and things to consider carrying with you on the bike for minor repairs. We will have SAG trucks out there that can help you with flat tires. They can give you a lift if you have a big mechanical problem, and things like that. But some of the quick things, and these are easy fixes that could be potentially quickly fixed while you're on the route so that you can keep riding on your own. And what I do is I sort of keep a very small pack. It's just this little pouch. And in this pouch, I've got things like a multi-tool. This is a Lezyne multi-tool. I found that this one is a pretty good tool. I've used quite a few of them. This one has a chain breaker. It's got several Allen keys. It's even got a Torx, which is common on some bikes now. So this is a pretty good multi-tool. Regardless if you get this one or not, or if you have one, make sure you bring it along. It can get you out of a quick situation, like let's say your seat comes loose, and you can just quickly adjust it and be back on your way without waiting for a SAG truck. Another thing I like to keep is a couple spare links. I use these in case the chain breaks, and if the links are bad on the chain, you can pop these in and out, and you can use the chain breaker tool on this. If you're not familiar with this tool, make sure that you try it out before you bring it on the tour, just so you have a feel of how it would work if you had to use it. Another thing is I always carry Benadryl. This has been in my bag for a while, but I'm allergic to bees. I also carry an EpiPen with me while I ride. So some things just personally to consider. Make sure that you're prepared if something like a bee sting were to happen. Again, we'll be there, but we're just not sure on the timing and things like that. So make sure that you're prepared on your own, especially for things like bee stings and different things like that. A tube. I always carry a tube or a patch kit. I prefer a tube. It's not much bigger than this, and generally I can get by with this if I'm going on really long rides. I'll take both, just in case if I have a flat tire, I can change it out with this, and if I have another flat tire, I can still patch it. And to inflate the tire, there's a couple different things. This is a small hand pump that you can use. I take this on a lot of bike rides. And there's also CO2 cartridges, and they come with a little valve adapter that these are they take up a lot less space than this big pump, and they also inflate your tire very quickly. But if you have multiple flats, you might need both or more cartridges, depending on how your day's going. Let's see, another couple things. Always bring some money. Like I generally put all of these the tools and some money and the Benadryl. I always put this in this little pack, stuff it in my jersey pocket, and I'm good to go. And I usually leave everything packed in here, so I just grab it and start riding. Another thing to take, and just put this in your duffel bag, is some chain lube. With 5 or 6 days of riding, your chain's going to need a little bit of lube. So just pack that each night when you come back to camp. Throw a little lube on there. You should be good for the rest of the tour. Nutrition on the ride. Sometimes I use shot blocks. You can use whatever sort of things that you do. I prefer just figs, just taking figs with me. And remember, we will have rest stops about every 15 to 20 miles. So each rest stop will have food of some sort. Each rest stop will be a little bit different, but you'll probably be okay even if you didn't take any food. But just to be, I'm just sort of I always like to be prepared, so I take my own food just in case. I usually end up carrying it all the way on the ride and don't eat it and take it back out during camp. But it's always good to be prepared. Another thing to consider, especially if it gets hot, and it can get hot, are these little Endurolite pills. And these are just, they're made by Hammer Nutrition, and I believe they're called E-Caps. You could check them out, check with your local bike shop, or even check out hammernutrition.com. What I've found, especially on hot days, is that these are gems for staving off cramps. Even as much water as you can drink, sometimes the cramps just come. So 1 or 2 of these an hour on a hot day should be good to go for cramps. So things to sort of keep you going. And I think that's about it for this series. I'm going to also do another series on packing for camping and what to expect and what to pack for, how to prepare for base camp and camping in a tent.